Congrats to the Florida Panthers for winning their second straight Stanley Cup in one of the most dominant performances by a team we've seen in like close to my lifetime in terms of their cup run. Obviously, they went to Game 7 against the Leafs, but man, for the most part, they just dominated. And obviously they've got some big off-season decisions with Bennett and Marchand and Ekblad, and I don't know, man. Like, given everyone talks with the tax issues and all of that stuff, but my goodness, if they want to run it back and just win a bunch more, with the 32 teams now being in the league, I talked about this a lot, that it really dilutes the talent. When you think about it, adding two teams into the league, that's 50 more AHL players that would not have a job and not be in the league that you've got sprinkled throughout, and you've got a lot of teams that are either watered down or once they have figured it out, they can just go on runs no matter what, essentially. And I don't know, 3 straight Stanley Cups and finals appearances and then 2 straight cups. It's crazy, but congrats to any of my followers that are Panther fans. Hope you enjoyed the Elbow Room. I personally love it. Top 5 bar I've ever been to in my life. And yeah, going to be fun to see what happens now in the off seasons, because now my Sharks are finally back at the front of the brain. I do want to talk about a couple things, though, guys. They released the Series 3 X Factors, and a lot of interesting things in that. Number one, you've got some Team of the Season cards, as well as Ovi being a 99 if you didn't get Ovi's goal record card. So if you started later in the year or after, Ovi breaking in the record and you don't have an Ovechkin card, 100% go out and make Alex Ovechkin's captain card, because you can upgrade it right to 99, and the upgrade's very cheap. It's just 80 overalls, 1-for-1, very cheap to upgrade X Factors. That being said, same thing with McKinnon. McKinnon's card is actually on attributes better than his Team of the Year and Team of the Season, which is hilarious, but obviously doesn't get the free abilities. And then Pasternak, true 99. It says 96 on the front of the card. It's a 99 overall. Very good card. The cost is absurd, but I don't know what we're saving for at this point, guys. When we get to June and July, if you're still playing the game and you're looking to upgrade your team and, kind of go after whoever you want, understand that at this point, don't worry about value, right? Because what's coming is a new video game. So there's that. I just wanted to bring that up because those X Factors pretty interesting. And here's what I want to start today's episode off with. We've talked a lot about what the content team has done wrong. Off the top of my head, I haven't prepared anything, but I would say the inconsistencies with events and other mechanics in game. I use this as an example throughout the year because it's just the easiest one that I think about. It was kind of egregious. Was Team of the Week started with collectibles, and then they changed their mind about 6 weeks in, and it's just like, why? Chase cards. They released 24 power-up icons that only upgraded by +1. I know that didn't really make any sense, but I know that when it comes to getting artwork done, they have to commission that, right? Like, to get the card art made. And I just have to have I feel like those cards were made with the intentions of them upgrading, or it seemed like it. And I don't know why they wouldn't just use that card art for something else. I mentioned this during the fantasy event. I would have loved... Power-up icons are not really power-ups. They're not really power-ups. They go up +1 overall. It's like a tutorial to show a mechanic, but you can do that with a single card as opposed to 24 of them. You could have just made the entire fantasy event all have master set player items, right? Like, because there was really no difference in MSPs from the fantasy event. The inconsistencies and upgrades for chase cards, like, there is I need to go and do a little bit of a deep dive on how many cards were released, but I would say, if we go back to NHL 22, which I think was... Actually, no, 23 was really good for content as well. 22 is the one that I remember the most because of it, that introduced it had one of the best events of all time, the 22 under 22, because that introduced the upgrade mechanic, right? Where you could upgrade the MSPs at the time as you wish. But I'd have to go back and look. I would say there's maybe 40% of the total amount of cards released than there was back then. And obviously there was the 5-day content, but there was also just so many more. I mean, if you take Team of the Week alone, Team of the Week was a team before. Now it's a line. So that right there, I can't do the math off the top of my head, but like there's like 40 weeks of Team of the Week cards. Just add, what was it, 12 to that every single time, like 40 times 12. That's a ton of cards right there, right? So very curious to see that. I just don't think there was a ton of cards, but what it has led to is no Austin Matthews regularly. Up until now, like Pasternak, obviously he went a long time without an upgrade. There's just a lot of star players that didn't get a lot of love throughout. Austin Matthews, I don't know who he hurt in Vancouver, but again, it's like he doesn't even exist, and he's still one of the best goal scorers and players on the planet. It's just someone. I don't mean to use the Leafs bias. I do like the Leafs, but it's just like that's a star player, and he got like 3 cards throughout the year. Just crazy to me, However, I do want to talk. I want to get your feedback on what do you think they did well this year? Because the content team, as far as I know, it's going to be the same team. And the one little bit of hope I have is that there have been things since the launch of the game that have been course corrections. They have improved upon. Number one is fantasy events, like fantasy cards. The old content team, they did playoff cards where they would upgrade based on wins, and boring. Oh my God, was that event boring? This team was like, hey, there's an event, let's make a fantasy item. 10 out of 10. Like, I think that this content team absolutely slam dunk with the content when it comes to fantasy. Now, I've talked about this a lot. I would love to see it improved even further. If they're going to do fantasy cards, make it for hits, block shots, assists. Obviously, you're going to have to put it into a little bit of an algorithm, figure out what that works like. If they're called fantasy cards, in fantasy, we don't just track goals. I think that'd be huge. Like I said, I think that, like, if you went, I always use this example, but if, for every 5 block shots for Chris Tanev, he goes up +1, right? Like you can do block shots, you can do hits, Kiefer Sherwood, every time he gets 10 hits, which is like in a period, he goes up +1. And along those lines, doesn't it just have to be goals? I think that'd make it super exciting. Make sure you still do it for the World Juniors. The other thing I want to mention is the XP path. It has got, like, it is better. I'm not saying it's good or where I think it should be. But if you were to look at the first week or the first XP path, oh my God, dude, I thought things were toast. I thought it was a write-off game. And a lot of people can be like, yeah, this game was a write-off. But if we're still playing it, it did something to you to keep you playing. And I think the XP path has a lot of good things in it. I still think that you need to put, and I hate that I always compare things to MLB, but they went through like a decade of not changing a thing. No new modes, really no new ways to release content. And then over the last 3 years, they drastically changed it. And I've been trying to think about this I talked about this yesterday about Rivals and how Rivals is frustrating because everyone just deranks because a win counts the same in Division 3 as it does in Division 1 for the objective path. Make it where if you're in Division 1 and you make Division 1 during a season, I would reset everyone's Rivals rankings. Reset everyone's Rivals rankings for a season that's 8 weeks long or 6 weeks long, however long you want to make it. They get to Division 1, bang, you get a guaranteed card that's sick. Maybe it's a choice pack of 6. Make it master set art. It'd be unreal. Love it. Would love it. And what that would do is incentivize people to get to Division 1, and then you have to find a way to keep them there. All of those rewards, like win 30 games and the Squad Battles awards, those should just be in the XP path. It should everything should be, when I talked about how an XP path could be the biggest win in Hockey Ultimate Team, I did it with the assumption that all of the rewards would be in it, and that's where we would get a majority of our rewards, and that's simply not the case, right? It's supplementing, not the actual reward. So, but I would like to hear, they have improved. I would like to hear what you think they did well. And if you say nothing, that's fine, but there has to be, fantasy is the easy one. I think that there's no way to argue that this content team did good with the fantasy event. I think they need to relook their choices for events in terms of their master set selections. Week 2 of the Crown event was, good Lord, so boring. And then the other big one is the timing of the events. I think they came up with a lot of cool ideas. The 99 endurance and Born Leader and all of that, like the double shift event. I talked about that when the event was released. Great idea. Something that we didn't have before. Endurance does matter at the beginning of the game. So just got to work the timing of these events, and I think we're in good shape. So, anyways, that was a long rant. Apologize, but just on the top of my mind. Let's get into the questions and comments. Seven Curses with the most liked comment of the video. I feel like this whole year has been payback for Pack Apocalypse. Oh, you had to be there. July 19th, 2024, you had to be there. I feel like it's crazy how good just getting endless packs is, because it just hits that part of the brain that loves gambling and all of that. And Pack Apocalypse, man, I remember I think I was away, but I remember being like, on Monday, I'm going to start a new account and get to a full 99 team and see how long it would take me. God, it was just so much fun. I think near the end of the year, you got to just let the pack simulator go, but I think for people that ask why they don't just do that, obviously it's a business. There are still people out there that spend money in this game throughout the rest of the summer. Not a lot, but there is. And if you just give packs away for free, obviously that impacts your, Burnsy says, as someone who recently started playing FIFA only because that's what my housemates are into, despite being a hockey player who doesn't even like football, I have to admit the gameplay loop is really well designed. The weekly rewards tied to squad battles and rival matches are far more engaging than just a basic XP path. FIFA actually combines both systems, XP progression and weekly objectives, which I think works brilliantly. I don't play FIFA. I would love it if it works together. I don't have any confidence that they will make it work together well. That's why I said just put everything in the XP path. But if FIFA does it well, copy FIFA, man. Give us something like that. For players with limited time, completing just 7 squad battles and rivals games still earns meaningful rewards. For those who want more, there's the option to grind through the objectives and XP path. I also think this helps the rivals gameplay, as higher divisions get better rewards. Also would like to add the way they do SBCs are much more intuitive and beginner friendly than the current collectible player turns. The events are absolutely brutal. Like in terms of I say this all the time. Take your girl and be like, hey, sweetheart, make a master set item and just see how long if she or he would be able to actually get it done. You know what I mean? Someone who's never played the game before. Could they actually make a master set player item? And that's a massive issue because it's just so confusing. But I think that I almost think they should combine Hut Champs and Rivals. And I don't mean get rid of Hut Champs. Make it something different. But I don't know. Rivals, it's tough. I like that FIFA does it well. As someone who played a ton of FIFA, I can agree with this. Despite all the other gameplay and content flaws, the reward system is spot on. The Rivals rewards in Div 1 are much better than Div 3, and that eliminates the issues Sleeves is talking about with dropping divisions. 100%, they're so scared in the NHL community. I remember years ago talking with a developer that I don't believe is with the company anymore. And there was an issue with champs. For anyone that remembers this, they used to give out cards for top 5, maybe top 20, but I think it was only top 5. We're talking like NHL 18-19, my first couple of years of being a game changer, or even making content. And there was a real issue that they did not like, and that was the best players were getting even better cards, and the gap of that they didn't want to fly off the handle, and they rubber band it. So for anyone that doesn't know what rubber banding is, it's basically like Mario Kart, where no matter how bad you do, if you go backwards on the track, eventually you can actually catch up. There's a rubber banding, first place can't get too far ahead, right? And I think that needs to just go away. And this year has been such a screw it, let's see. Why not just do that? If the guys in Division 1, if 300 total people in the world are in Division 1, give them something, man. Give them something to be there. It is hard, man. I'm in Division 2, and I'm matching all these dudes because there's no reason for them to be up there. And that has always been a problem. And it needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed. Hey, Slaves. So talking about the divisions in the video, I had to stop with Rivals and Champs this year because of how jumbled everything is. I'm a Div 3, but noticed how out-of-pocket everything is. I came up with the idea of how to separate divisions. Each division should have their designated players. Div 5, each other, same as Div 4 and onwards. When wanting to pass the skill rating in the next division, they should do a best of 5 for you. You win 3 of 5, and you'll be in the next division. I think something like that would prevent people from Div 3 matching Div 1 players and vice versa. Keep games within your division unless passing the threshold. That's a unique idea. What I think it should just be is that there should be a setting like you can search ping and you can search your skill rating like that the win parameters. Here's the issue. If you set your skill rating to 50 above where you are, if someone set theirs to 250 and there's a long enough wait, you'll match them. So it really doesn't matter. I think that there should be a setting where it says hard lock your skill rating. I don't care if I have to wait 25 minutes for a game. That's on me. I choose that, right? You could do it normally where eventually it'll open up and you'll select and you'll get a player. But if you don't want to and you want a hard match against someone of your skill rating, let them. Obviously what's happening is there's so little of a player base, and that has something to do with the fact that it's a server-based game too. So the West Coast isn't nearly as populated in NHL as it is on the East Coast, right? So they open it up as you search longer so that you can actually get a game. And there's times where I wait like 30 minutes for a game, even with like full search parameters. But I think there should be a setting where it's like, no, I want to play people who are in my range. If I want to put the game on and then go play some Pokemon while I'm on my desk or something, do it. Like that's how it should be. Good points. My problem with Rivals was stat tracking in previous matchups. I always wanted to look at who I played in their team. NHL 25 is the least I've played a hockey game since NHL 18. I've enjoyed playing online Dynasty with my friends in CFP 25. Yeah, when it comes to the stat tracking, it has improved infinitely. They've actually allowed us to, first of all, a leaderboard, which did not have the same impact that I thought it would, mostly because it doesn't mean anything to be in Division 1 to a lot of people. It should, but it doesn't. Secondly, when it comes to NHL 18 and 25 in terms of playing, you could just be getting older, right? Like, when you play an online game and you pick your game, NHL, if you're still watching these videos, more than likely NHL is your game. You're going to play it all year round, and there is no way for a game to keep your interest level and be positive throughout. I talk about this all the time, but dopamine is a scale. So when launch happens, you're excited, hope is high, you pack your first great card, okay? Every time you open up a pack, it drops down, because to get to baseline, you have to pull something that higher than you've already pulled. So if you've got a full year, essentially what you're looking at now is pulling a master set player item, which you're never going to do. I think I've pulled 2 in my 6 years of being or being a content creator. The other thing would be wins. Every time you win, right? But as the game goes along more and you've evened out at 500, a win matters less. Losses, again, just getting up to baseline so hard. So you've been playing the game for so long that it's really tough. And online Dynasty, I think what college football showed was that all of the guys that grew up and girls that grew up during the sports gaming peak, which in my opinion is early 2000s, which is when I think gaming peaked, because it was a lot less live service and it was a lot, let's design a video game that keeps people engaged, and that is it. There's no updates. It's got to be good on the disc. And what I think you're running into a lot of is that sports games have a hard time getting new, younger players. Because they don't want to spend their time after they're done high school playing Hockey Ultimate Team or Ultimate Team modes in general, because it is so time intensive. They also don't have money. So they can't, there's 2 things, right? Like high school kids, when you think about it, don't have a lot of time. You have way more time in college than you do in high school. When you think about it, that's a hot take. If you're a doctor or a lawyer, I beg to differ. But if you go to college, for any business degree and things like that, I went for journalism and there was a lot of downtime. And that's when you get the people that can play a ton, right? But for the most part, they don't have money, they don't have time. Okay, so what do? They play Fortnite. They play other shooter games. They play other games that are quick and you can get into. They play EA SHL, okay? What it showed with college football was that was an EA Sports game built from the ground up with the intention of offline. Dynasty, I loved playing Dynasty in college football. It was great. And we haven't seen a sports game do that since 2006, right? But what I want to get at is all the people that grew up during that era, in the beginning of the online gaming era. I used to grind versus leaderboards. That's all I did. And then that got old, right? Because it's just a leaderboard number and it's who really cares? But you played franchise for 1,000 hours, right? All of those people are now in their 30s. They're still playing NHL. But because those offline modes don't get the same amount of love, obviously, if you think about it logically as a business, why would you, right? When Hut World of Shell even has a store now where that will be a big money driver, right? So that's where their focus is going to be. And it sucks for the consumer, but you're just getting older and like we love offline games, you know, Be a Pro, Dynasty, all of that. And I think EA is starting to understand like the renaissance of that. College football opened up a lot of eyes, became the highest selling sports game of all time, I believe. And it had an ultimate team, but it was so forgotten about that no one cared. Like, no one. The reason why people bought and played that game was offline modes. And I truthfully believe that EA, if they want to get back to, they'll never be the get back to the glory days. We'll never have NHL 14 again. We'll never have NHL 06 or 04. It just won't ever happen. 99. It won't, because a lot of that's nostalgia, and a lot of that is the market does not want what we want. But I think a large portion of the player base actually would love that. And I think that's why, you kind of feel like that. So a lot of yapping today. I do apologize. Sometimes I like just, coming when it comes to my mind in these videos. But I appreciate you guys. Curious to see your comments tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.